Well, something that resonated with me that I'll echo from Annette's point is, yeah, an interest in somatic experience, which is the experience that you have of something as a person with a body and what your body is going through as you experience something. So I just, like, I know that art writing can take a lot of different forms, and we could probably all like popcorn what these different forms are, whether they're art criticism in glass tire or art forum, or it's like John Berger kind of cultural criticism, or any number of things, books, monographs, whatever. But also, there's so many other places that text lives with art that I would love to kind of call attention to, because it's interesting how often we see a work of art that is not just on its own, it's actually being buttressed or supported, whether obviously or covertly, by text, whether that's like an exhibition text or wall text or even just a label next to a piece of art. And I think like that, I'm really attentive to that relationship between just a form without language, maybe a painting, maybe a sculpture, whatever, a performance, and then the kind of human desire or necessity to expand that experience in text. And for me, like, I make art, so I think that's why I'm kind of always, I have this kind of love-hate relationship with translating an art experience into text. But I'm interested in the way that like text can slow down time or speed up time. So in a wall text, like when you walk into a museum and you see wall text, it's a pretty good candidate to be a moment where text speeds up time. But that's not always the case. But sometimes if a show is explained to you in wall text first, it speeds up your experience, your somatic experience of walking through the gallery. It says what you're going to see. It says what the show's about. And other kinds of text, maybe they don't do much explaining. Maybe they slow down time and they help, maybe a review or something helps describe each little particular detail of a show. And actually the show, like you said, is expanded beyond its lifespan, and it gets to live on in this weird kind of particulate way. And so I write, usually the form I tend to write in is exhibition texts and reviews, but that's just kind of what they have to get called. Oftentimes I like to write from a firsthand experience of encountering a work and using language as, although it's a precise tool, using it as an imprecise tool or like a creative medium.
Well, what we talked about was you consider your arts writing a part of your actual creative practice too, which is so interesting, you know, as an actively working artist and adding the writing. I think that I don't know, I find that an interesting take on how that, so yeah. You want to?
Yeah, that's a good, I think Lauren probably does this too, because you make work as well, but yeah, I think I find that the most useful thing for my practice to do for me is to engage with my subconscious and try to be improvisational in the moment in the studio, and then once a thing is made, to go back and maybe read it or come to see what all came out of that moment in the studio. And because there's so many other places in life where I'm using my logical brain, to have a studio space where you can just engage with your subconscious feels extremely valuable. And so having a concurrent writing practice where my logical brain can just do the thing where it needs to describe everything, having a concurrent practice that kind of alleviates my studio practice of having to be super logical. So as a human, I think I'm probably always going to need to describe stuff. I'll do that in text, and it kind of helps my studio practice be a place where I don't have to say my work is about anything. I can just work and understand it later.